Alright, what's up guys? So I apologize for the noise. I have my AC units down here near the fish tanks. That's just how it is. Not much I can do about it. But let's get into this video. So today we're gonna be setting up an immersed Amazon sword tank, and basically we're gonna do what we did with the Java tank, but with immersed swords. There are some extra steps to this just because swords are a little harder to grow immersed. We have two bins here that I got in a recent order. One of these will go into a tank and one of these will go into the bin. These it seems they tend to grow faster kind of immersed, because in the wild you find them growing immersed. They can grow submerged, and that's where most of us are going to use these, but it's good to kind of get a good ecosystem going, and that way you can just maybe like take some of them out of here and then put them in your tank already fully grown almost. So we're just going to try this out. This is kind of a test. I have done this before. It's turned out decently. I'm going to do a few different steps this time to see if it'll work better, but we'll get right into it. So first, you're going to need some sort of used bin, or bin, it doesn't matter. I'm using a used one. And that's just to trap the moisture. You don't want to use a pot or anything like that. These guys need an extremely humid environment to survive, because they grow in the Amazon River. So next, you're gonna want some sort of a gravel base, and this is really just so the water can kind of drain to the bottom and have a place to go, so you don't have mold growing all the time. I've had problems, not necessarily mold, but I'll get a lot of like algae just growing on the dirt, and I'll end up hurting the plants. So you'll want about 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch of this kind of drainage layer. It can be any kind of gravel, preferably kind of like a mixed one like I have here, some sand, some medium. All right, so once you have your drainage layer in, you're gonna wanna add some sort of soil. I'm using a coconut fiber soil for like houseplants and tropical plants. You can just use some garden soil. This stuff kind of traps moisture better, so in my case, I believe it'll be the better option. But you know, feel free to use like potting mix. That stuff will do good too. You are gonna want some sort of springtails. You can usually get those just out in your garden. They'll even sell them at pet stores. I have some in my immersed Java tank tub, so I'm just gonna throw some of that dirt into here. Then you're gonna want some sort of spray bottle. And you're gonna wanna spray this down real good, just so, you know, you need that moisture. These plants in particular, like I said earlier, need a lot of humidity. So give it a real good spray down. So once you've sprayed the top, you're gonna take your Amazon swords, and like I said, I have these from this bin here. So a lot of them come kind of in a chain. You're just gonna want to snip them off and kind of plant them spread out. Now these do get big, so they need a good bit of their own space. That drainage layer should act as a place where most of the water will go, so you won't get the algae like I mentioned earlier. Now, it doesn't take a lot of common sense to figure this out, but you do need to plant them root down. Make sure not to cover the crown too much, otherwise the plant will rot. The crown of the plant is this place where all the leaves are shooting out of. Make sure not to put too much soil in here, maybe about an inch to a quarter inch of soil, just so the drainage layer works properly. And if your Amazon swords come in a tub like this, make sure to properly rinse these off these swords. And we'll give this one some extra space. This should turn out pretty good, but then you're gonna want to do another really big spray of the whole place. Really good, get them really moist. Like I said, they like a very humid environment. I would even spray this entire bottle. Just get every corner wet. You can spray the dirt off the side of your walls if you want. All right, so once you give it a good spray, you're gonna wanna make sure you have a light, pretty strong light at that, one capable of growing indoor plants. All right, so once you got your bin planted up, like I said, you're gonna need a pretty strong light to keep that humidity going. I'll post the lights I have in the description. These things are pretty good. You are gonna need an outlet timer for them though, because they do not come with one. Here, I'll go ahead and turn mine on. You do want a timer. You're gonna wanna have the light on for about 8 to 10 hours a day. 8 is probably the safer option, but you're gonna wanna give them pretty good amount of light. Now these are babies, so too much light could scar them, but it shouldn't be a problem. So the last thing you're gonna wanna do, and I think you guys can guess what it is. So the last step is pretty simple. You're gonna wanna grab your spray bottle and spray again. And I know this seems repetitive, but it's a very crucial part, especially at the start with these plants, because they need so much moisture, and without it they dry up and they die. It's that simple. They won't grow because you're trying to replicate an Amazon forest environment. So they need nutrients and they need moisture. So we're gonna give this one last good spray, and yeah, that's it. Now, the last crucial step is every day for the next week or so, you're gonna want to take your spray gun and spray in here 3 to 5 times. Now, this is only for the first week. After the first week, you can come and you can spray the plants down, twice a day, something like that. Or not, I wouldn't say a day, maybe like twice every other day, or twice a week. Because what'll happen is if you had too much moisture, if you spray too much, you'll actually get a lot of algae growth. And that's not necessarily bad, but I'll show you guys what that'll do. Detrimental. But in this is a prime example of what happens if you spray too much. You already see there's some algae on the top. But I mean, look at that. The soil, the top of the soil, and this is what happens if you don't have enough springtails as well. But that is why you want to keep your moisture control and not overspray these guys. So that is all for today. I'll see you guys next time on Ozzy's Aquatics.